My grandfather came to America at 52 with nothing. Not just little money, literally nothing. The Holocaust had taken everything: his business, his home, his savings, most of his family. He arrived in New York speaking broken English with $7 in his pocket and no prospects. 15 years later, at 67, he owned 3 rental properties, had a successful small business, and was living comfortably. Another 10 years after that, he was genuinely wealthy. He rebuilt everything from absolute zero in a country where he didn't speak the language, starting at an age when most people are retired. I share this not to minimize how difficult starting over at 65 is. It's extremely difficult, but it's possible. I've watched it happen. I've learned the strategies. And I want to share what my grandfather taught me about rebuilding when you have nothing but time is running out. If you're 65 with $0, you're facing a specific set of challenges. You can't wait 30 years for investments to compound. You can't work 80-hour weeks physically. You probably have health issues. Society tells you you're too old. You might feel like it's over. My grandfather would tell you you're not dead, so it's not over. You have knowledge, experience, and capabilities that young people don't have. You have time, maybe 15, maybe 25, maybe more. That's enough to rebuild if you're strategic. The first thing to understand is that traditional retirement is not an option for you. That ship sailed. Social Security alone won't provide freedom. It provides poverty with a roof. You need to accept that you'll be working in some capacity for the foreseeable future. But working doesn't mean the same grueling labor you might have done when younger. It means finding ways to generate income that leverage what you have: experience, knowledge, skills, time, while managing your physical limitations. My grandfather couldn't do physical labor at 52. His body had been destroyed in the camps, but his mind was sharp. He knew textiles, he understood business, he spoke multiple languages. These became his assets. So step 1 is taking inventory of what you actually have. You say you have $0, but do you have a place to live even if rented? That's something. You're not homeless, which would make everything exponentially harder. Any possessions of value, tools, equipment, furniture, collectibles, anything that could be sold for initial capital or used to generate income, skills from your career or life, accounting, sales, management, trades, teaching, counseling, anything you know how to do that others will pay for, knowledge of an industry or area. Even if you're no longer employed in it, you understand how it works, who the players are, what problems need solving, physical capability, can you drive, lift moderate weight, sit at a computer, stand for periods. Your physical constraints matter, but so do your capabilities. Network of relationships, former colleagues, friends, family members who might provide opportunities, references, or initial work. For most people at 65 with nothing, this inventory reveals you actually have more than nothing. You have a foundation to build from. It's not the foundation you wish you had, but it's something. My grandfather's inventory in 1950, a rented room in a boarding house, one suit, $7, knowledge of textile manufacturing, broken English, ability to work despite chronic pain, and a few distant relatives in New York who could provide character references. Not much, but he used every single item on that list. Step 2 is generating immediate income. You need cash flow now, not eventually. This means taking whatever work you can get that matches your physical capabilities and pays. My grandfather started as a stock clerk in a textile warehouse. It paid poorly and was below his capabilities, but it provided immediate income. He worked that job while building towards something better. At 65 today, immediate income options include retail jobs. Many retailers specifically hire older workers. It's not glamorous and doesn't pay well, but it's immediate income. Security guard positions, if you can pass basic physical requirements, many security jobs are mostly sitting and observing. Customer service, especially phone-based, companies hire remote customer service representatives. If you can sit at a computer and talk to people, this works. Driving, if you can pass the background check and have a reliable vehicle, rideshare or delivery can generate immediate cash. Caregiving, if you're in decent health, providing care for people slightly older or more infirm than you pays reasonably well. House sitting, pet sitting, lower physical demands, immediate payment. The key is swallowing your pride and taking work now while building something better. My grandfather, who'd owned a successful business in Europe, stocked shelves. He didn't let ego prevent survival. Step 3 is living absurdly, frugally. With zero savings at 65, every dollar must be stretched maximally and most dollars must be saved, not spent. This means finding the cheapest housing possible. Shared housing, renting a room in someone's house, senior housing if available, even house-sitting arrangements. Your goal is minimizing housing costs to perhaps a third of what you'd normally accept. It means eliminating all non-essential expenses. No cable, no subscriptions, no eating out, no convenience purchases. You cook basic foods bought in bulk. You use the library for entertainment. You walk instead of driving when possible. My grandfather lived in a single rented room for 5 years, shared bathroom down the hall, one hot plate for cooking, no phone, no car, no luxuries whatsoever. Every penny beyond bare survival was saved. This level of frugality seems extreme, but it serves two purposes. It allows you to save from even minimal income, and it shows you that survival requires far less than you thought, which reduces fear and increases options. Step 4 is aggressive saving of the gap between income and minimal expenses. Even if you're making minimum wage, if you've cut expenses to absolute minimums, there's a gap. That gap must be saved with religious discipline, making $2,000 per month in basic work. If you've cut expenses to $1,000 per month, you're saving $1,000 monthly. In 6 months, you have $6,000. That's your seed capital for step 5. My grandfather saved 70% of his warehouse wages. It required living conditions most people wouldn't accept, but within 2 years he had accumulated enough capital to start a small side business. Step 5 is using saved capital to create additional income streams. This is where you transition from pure labor to leveraging capital and knowledge. With a few $1,000s saved, options open. Buy tools or equipment to start a service business. A lawn mower, basic repair tools, cleaning supplies, whatever matches your skills and physical capability. Buy inventory for a small buying and selling business. My grandfather used his textile knowledge to buy remainders and damaged goods, repair them, and resell at profit. Invest in training or certification that increases your earning power. A real estate license, notary certification, tax preparation training, something that allows higher income work. Partner with someone younger who has energy but lacks capital. You provide money and experience, they provide labor, split profits. The key is that saved capital, even small amounts, can generate returns far exceeding what your labor alone can produce. $1,000 in tools might generate $500 per month in additional income. That's a 50% monthly return. Step 6 is scaling the additional income while maintaining the primary income. Don't quit your job to focus on the side business until the side business clearly generates more than the job. Run both simultaneously, even if it means working long hours. My grandfather worked the warehouse job for 4 years while building his textile repair and resale business on nights and weekends. It was exhausting, but it allowed him to build the business without the risk of losing his income. By year 4, the side business was generating more than the warehouse job. Only then did he quit and focus full-time on his own business. Step 7 is reinvesting all profits back into the growing business or income stream. You're still living frugally, still minimizing expenses. Every dollar of profit goes into expanding what's working. If the lawn care business is working, profits buy a second mower so you can hire help or serve more clients. If the buying and selling is working, profits buy more inventory. If the service business is working, profits go into marketing to get more clients. This reinvestment phase is crucial. Most people, after years of deprivation, want to improve their lifestyle once money starts coming in. Resist this completely. Live like you're broke for several more years while building the business. My grandfather maintained his single-room existence for 5 years after his business became profitable. All profits went back into inventory, equipment, and eventually hiring his first employee. He was making decent money but living like he made nothing. Step 8 is beginning to acquire assets once the business cash flow is stable and substantial. This is usually years into the process, not months. The first asset is typically a modest home or small rental property, something that provides stability and begins building equity. My grandfather, at age 59, 7 years after arriving with nothing, bought a small duplex. He lived in one unit, rented the other. The rent from the tenant covered most of the mortgage. He'd gone from nothing to property owner in 7 years. Step 9 is continuing to scale through the combination of business income and asset acquisition. The business provides cash flow funds, asset purchases. Assets provide security and additional income. This is the same wealth-building pattern I've written about before, but starting from zero at 65 compresses the timeline and requires more aggressive execution. My grandfather continued this pattern for 20 years. Business profits funded property purchases. Properties provided rental income and equity. He kept expenses minimal, lived modestly, and plowed everything back into growth. By 70, he had 3 rental properties, a successful business with employees, and genuine financial security. By 80, he was wealthy enough to retire if he'd wanted to, though he continued working because he enjoyed it. From nothing at 52 to wealthy at 80, 28 years. Could it have been faster? Maybe, but it worked, and that's what matters. Now let me address the psychological challenges because they're as significant as the practical ones. Starting over at 65 is psychologically brutal. You're supposed to be retired, enjoying the fruits of your labor. Instead, you're broke and starting from scratch. The shame and depression can be overwhelming. My grandfather dealt with this by refusing to compare his situation to what it should be. He'd say, should is irrelevant. Reality is what matters. In reality, I have nothing, so I build from nothing. Wishing changes nothing. He also refused to dwell on the past or blame himself for the situation. Whether you're broke at 65 due to bad decisions, bad luck, illness, divorce, or catastrophe doesn't matter. The past is unchangeable. Energy spent on regret is energy not spent on rebuilding. He focused entirely on the next step, then the next, then the next. Not the entire journey from broke to secure. That's overwhelming. Just the next immediate action. Get a job, save this month's gap, buy those tools, make that sale. Another psychological challenge is society's treatment of older people starting over. You'll face ageism, condescension, and dismissiveness. People will assume you're incompetent or desperate or pitiable. My grandfather's approach was to ignore all of it. He didn't care what people thought. He cared about rebuilding. Their opinions were irrelevant to his goals. You'll also face well-meaning advice to just accept your situation or try to enjoy what you have or stop working so hard at your age. Ignore this too. These people don't understand what you're building. The physical challenges are real and must be managed. You're not 25, you can't work 80-hour weeks indefinitely. You need more sleep, more recovery time, more attention to health. My grandfather learned to work smart rather than hard. He'd work focused 6-hour days rather than unfocused 12-hour days. He prioritized sleep and basic health maintenance. He recognized that his body was a tool that needed maintenance to remain functional. He also hired physical help as soon as affordable. He couldn't lift heavy boxes at 60, so he hired young men to do that while he handled sales, relationships, and decisions. Use your age and experience as advantages, not disadvantages. You know things young people don't. You've made mistakes and learned from them. You understand people and relationships. You have patience and perspective. These are valuable and can be monetized if you're strategic about it. Consulting or advising, even informally, can generate income. The young business owner who needs guidance from someone who's been there. The middle-aged person making a major decision who needs perspective. Your experience has value. My grandfather became an informal advisor to younger people in the textile industry. Some paid him, others gave him deals on inventory or referred customers. His knowledge and relationships became income streams. Let me give you a specific example of someone I know who rebuilt from almost nothing at 63. My friend's father lost everything in a business bankruptcy at 62. Divorced, no savings, no income. He was living with his daughter, depressed and feeling finished. At 63, he took a job at Home Depot. Retail sales, nothing glamorous. He worked there for 3 years while living with his daughter and saving aggressively. He used his construction knowledge from his failed business to start doing small handyman jobs on weekends. Fixed fences, repaired decks, did minor remodeling. The handyman work grew through word of mouth. By year 3, he was doing it full-time and earning more than his Home Depot job. He quit retail and focused on handyman work. He reinvested all profits into tools and equipment, got a work truck, built a reputation for reliability and fair pricing. By 68, he had a stable client base generating $60,000 per year. Not wealthy, but comfortable and independent. He'd gone from bankrupt and living with his daughter to financially independent in 5 years. At 72, he's still working, but on his terms. He takes winters off, works maybe 25 hours per week, makes enough to live comfortably, and save some. From nothing at 63 to freedom at 72. Not the retirement he'd planned, but better than the poverty and dependence he faced at 62. The pattern is repeatable. Generate immediate income through whatever work you can get, live extremely frugally, and save aggressively. Use savings as seed capital for additional income streams. Scale the additional income while maintaining the initial income. Reinvest all profits until cash flow is stable. Begin acquiring modest assets. Continue scaling over years. This pattern works whether you're 65 or 45, but at 65 it requires more discipline because you have less time for compound returns to work magic. Let me address some specific situations. If you have health problems that limit work options, focus on income that doesn't require physical labor, phone work, computer work, advising, teaching, online services. Your body may be failing, but if your mind works, you can generate income. If you have no skills that seem marketable, everyone has skills, they just might not recognize them. Can you listen well? Counseling and coaching. Can you organize? Professional organizing services. Can you write clearly? Content writing, editing. Can you teach anything? Tutoring, lessons. If you have no place to live, this is harder but not impossible. Shelter first, then income. Use homeless services, family, friends, churches, whatever resources exist. Once you have shelter, the same pattern applies. If you have criminal history or bad credit limiting options, many jobs and income streams don't require credit checks or background checks. Focus on self-employment, cash businesses, or industries that hire people with records. The fundamental truth is this. If you're alive and capable of any work, you can rebuild. It won't be fast. It won't be easy. It will require years of discipline and sacrifice. But it's possible. My grandfather proved it. The man I mentioned proved it. I've seen others prove it repeatedly in different circumstances. Let me be specific about what living frugally actually means in practice, because many people underestimate this. Housing, one room, shared bathroom, the cheapest, safe option available, not a nice apartment, not comfort, absolute minimum shelter, food, rice, beans, eggs, seasonal vegetables, chicken when on sale, cooking everything from scratch, no restaurants, no takeout, no convenience foods, monthly food budget under $200. Transportation, walking, bus, bicycle, no car unless absolutely required for work, and then the cheapest reliable option. Entertainment, library books, free community events, walking in parks, zero budget for movies, concerts, subscriptions, clothing, thrift stores only, and only when necessary. You're building a wardrobe for work and basic function, nothing more. Phone, the cheapest prepaid option that allows you to receive work calls and emails. No smartphone plan unless required for work. This level of frugality is painful, it's embarrassing, friends and family will be concerned or judgmental. You'll feel deprived constantly, but it's temporary. My grandfather lived this way for 5 years. The man who rebuilt lived this way for 3 years. It's not forever, it's the foundation period. The alternative is accepting poverty and dependence for the rest of your life. Maybe that's realistic for some people in some situations, but if you have any physical or mental capability remaining, that acceptance is premature. You're 65 with nothing. That's your reality. You can spend your remaining years bitter and broke, or you can spend them building something. Even modest success is better than giving up. My grandfather used to say, "Every day I wake up is a day I can make progress. When I stop waking up, then I'm finished. Until then, I build." He built from nothing at 52 to wealth by 80. 28 years of focused effort. You might have 15 years, maybe 20, maybe 25. That's enough if you start now and work strategically. The first step is generating any income today, this week. Take whatever work you can get that matches your capabilities. The second step is cutting expenses to absolute minimums. Live like you're truly broke, even if you have some income. The third step is saving the gap religiously. Every dollar between income and minimal survival goes into savings. The fourth step is using those savings to create additional income. Services, buying and selling whatever matches your skills and capital. The fifth step is scaling while continuing to live frugally and reinvest everything. The rest unfolds from there if you maintain discipline over years. It's not the retirement you dreamed of. It's not relaxation and travel and leisure. It's hard work when you should be resting. It's sacrifice when you should be enjoying. But it's freedom. It's independence. It's building something instead of accepting nothing. My grandfather arrived at 52 with $7 and a body broken by the camps. He died at 93, wealthy, surrounded by family, having rebuilt a life from ashes. If he could do that with those challenges in that era, you can rebuild from 65 with $0 in this era with all the opportunities it provides. The only question is whether you will, whether you'll accept the hard reality and do the hard work, or whether you'll give up before starting. That choice is yours, but I hope you choose to build, because it's possible and you deserve better than poverty and dependence. Start today, find income, cut expenses, save, build, one step at a time, one day at a time, for as many years as you have. It's enough.